Hi everyone, my name is Karen Wagner and I teach high school U.S. history and American government. I decided to create my site for a unit I use in my American Government and Economic Systems class, which is mainly for juniors, and that is on the Declaration of Independence. This is an upcoming unit I have in the school year, so I thought I could translate a lot of this from this class into my own class. Typically in the actual classroom, we spend between 2.5 to 3 weeks on the Declaration of Independence, and I, for the sake of this assignment, shrunk it down into somewhat of a mini unit for one full week, 5 class periods. Um, I just kind of outlined here the overall goals for the unit. So one would be to understand the background of the events that led to the Declaration. I think that's important, as well as the content, the outline, and the major statements from the document itself. And for the entire class, American Government and Economic Systems, one of our goals for the entire year is essentially getting better at analyzing, interpreting, and reading historical documents and primary sources. So I would say that is definitely one of the big goals with this unit as well. So going to our little tabs up top, flipping from home to the Meet Mrs. Wagner, just some pretty basic info. I decided to combine the lessons and assessment slide just because I thought it flowed a little bit better that way. And for the lessons, I stated that in the school I teach at, class periods are 50 minutes long. So with the 5 lessons, that's 50 minutes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That summative assessment being on Friday. If you teach in a different setting, I just think that's important to know to see if you need extra time, less time, whatever it may be. So for each day or lesson, I hyperlinked, just attached to the name, so where it says Declaration of Independence Scavenger Hunt for this one. That's the name of the lesson, and here is my lesson plan. And it's one of those things that I have taught this lesson multiple years in a row now, so going through the instructional strategies, it makes perfect sense to me, but from an outsider's point of view, I would love to hear from you what does and doesn't make sense. Because I'm sure I'm probably leaving some stuff out. Just bad habit, I guess. And I plan to put the standards on all of my lesson plans, not just for this site, at the top of my lesson plans and kind of organize them that way. So that's where I included the standards for each on each lesson plan, instead of a separate standards tab on the website. Please, in the survey, let me know if you like this format, if you would like an extra page on standards broken down that way, and I'd be happy to incorporate that. I incorporated the standards from the school district I teach at, and our content, our curriculum map, as well as some Common Core standards, and both of these are to match grade 11, which, like I said, I teach mostly juniors in this class. And then any additional attachments are student handouts, notes, things like that. So for the scavenger hunt, these are the questions that they will be looking through the textbook on their first read for. Page 44 and 47, that's just the textbook we use. You honestly just need any copy of the Declaration of Independence. That can be from online, your textbook that you use in your classroom, whatever it may be. Lesson 2 involves some note taking. You can kind of read the objectives for each lesson for a little bit more info. So I have a notes presentation that is on Google Slides, as well as a notes packet that corresponds with each slide from this Google Slides. I use Google Slides all the time for my bell ringers, presentations for notes, things like that. And you'll see attached to nearly all the slides is hyperlinked either a different YouTube video or some additional information on these different events. I'm not expecting you to have time to sit through and watch all these videos, but what I do in my classroom, if there's a topic that students tend to ask more questions about, that they're not understanding, or that they're just more interested in, I'll kind of add those supplemental videos when time allots. It is just a 50-minute class period, so you kind of have to pick and choose which of the videos you want to watch. So maybe pre-screen them to see which works best for your class. But these are all linked to YouTube, which is another technological resource that I use. And I just always think videos are a little bit of a good supplemental activity to break up the notes. Lesson 3 is kind of the fun one, where I play a little bit of a prank on my students. So feel free to read this lesson plan. I won't, for the sake of time, go into too much detail with it. But essentially, what we're doing is comparing the layout of the Declaration of Independence, the actual declaration, to a breakup letter. And then with the second half of class, they have to create a quick foldable using some actual text from the document and learning that there's kind of 4 different sections to the document. So the foldable will look like this is the top part, instructions, and then kind of a picture here. So they just staple it onto a notebook sheet of paper and fill out this info about the preamble, natural rights, grievances, and resolution of independence. Also, in this lesson, after I make that metaphor that the Declaration is is a breakup letter to Great Britain, there's this video that's been done. I think the corporation or the company is Sumo, Soomo. They've got a couple different ones like this, kind of parody videos for different historical events, and kids always just get a big kick out of it. Sumo Publishing. Um, across the globe and we're standing on the ground. Yeah, so you should watch it if you've got time. It's pretty funny. It puts popular songs to, or puts historical events to popular songs. This one's on the Declaration. So that's a fun resource. Lesson 4, on Thursday of the week, they're going to be creating their own declarations of independence. So they can write them about anything they want, declare independence from school or homework, chores, fashion trends, different celebrities. I've had all sorts of creative assignments. And then they get extra credit if they come back with their declaration handwritten with burnt edges, stained to look like an actual old-time document. So that's kind of a fun project as well. Lesson 5 is the summative assessment. I need to get a rubric in here for this assessment. I'm just now realizing. But anyway, I'll just kind of go through it briefly. So like I said, one of the main goals of this unit is to improve their reading skills when it comes to primary sources. So for the first part, I have 8 different excerpts, exact text from the document, in which they need to match a translation to. So it's really doesn't seem that hard, but you might be surprised. It can be kind of a bit of a struggle. So they take the translations and they just have to match which they go to, which can take a little bit of time to double check that they are comprehending the content and putting it into modern day terms. Part 2 is 3 different short answer questions where they're expected to write at least a paragraph's worth of info. I'm a big fan of short answer because you can really gauge retention instead of guessing. So just 3 questions of things we've talked about in depth throughout the week. For tech resources, this is what I have. I would love to hear your feedback if I am forgetting something that I included somewhere, or if you can think of a different resource that I haven't included in my mini unit. I would love any feedback on that of different ways I can incorporate technology. For the peer review, I use Google Forms, so I would love for you to take a minute and just fill out this survey. Be as honest as you can. This is the first time I've made a website like this, so it's really been a learning experience, and just now talking through it with you all, I've already in my head figured a few things I want to go back in and fix. So please, please, please tell me anywhere you can see improvement. Whether it's something as simple as pictures, or if I should have a separate web page slide for standards or break up the assessment. add some tech resources, anything like that. I'd love your feedback on. So I really appreciate you taking the time and watching this video. Let me know what makes sense, what doesn't make sense on the lesson plan, because it's one of those things that makes sense to me, but it may not make sense to an outsider. The reflection I still have blank. I plan on writing that after I get some peer review and finish the final version of this site. So once again, thank you for taking your time, and I look forward to looking at all of your sites as well.